far as I know, he's all right, but it doesn't affect anything. We still go with the same setup and what we always do, and then we'll just play the game as usual.
Do you have to be extra vigilant around the COVID situation at the moment? We know that more managers have tested positive today and more high-profile players.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, there's a lot of cases in England at the moment, isn't there? So it's just looking after yourself. But then again, there is no rules on the outside, is there? So it's a catch-22. So, but I look after myself. I keep to myself, and I try to stay healthy.
Looking ahead then to the game, do you see this as a big opportunity to get some game time? And does a win in this competition help to kickstart your season?
For me, yeah, obviously I want to play football, so another game would be great. And then obviously if we can get it to kickstart our season, then of course we'll go out there with the same mentality as always. We want to go win, we want to put in a good performance, and we all want to prove a point.
Is this a competition that you can go well in this season, or is that threat of relegation from the Premier League the main focus?
I think we can do well. We have a good squad here. It's a different competition, obviously the Premier League, so our minds are different. We're concentrating on FA Cup. We don't concentrate on Premier League when we're in this cup, and vice versa. So no, I think all our minds are on FA Cup.
Thank you. All the best.
Cheers.
Thanks, Tim. Danjo, Radio Lancs.
Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Just pressing record like an idiot. There we go. For you, I was looking at your kind of career record. With the COVID thing, you've probably played, what, a dozen senior games, maybe a little bit more than that before COVID. Do you get used to it? Is it something that kind of you can live with and you've kind of become accustomed to, or is it still like crazy?
No, I think I'm just used to it at this stage, obviously it's still crazy. It is, like, everyone knows that, you're not living your full life, but I'm used to it at this stage. But it makes it probably easier preparing for games because I'm by myself. I can concentrate on football even more. So you have to look at it both ways, and I try to get the positives out of it.
You mentioned there being no rules on the outside, and your manager's been, really strong on this, that players are human beings and you've got lives to lead. Is it just at this stage about, you obviously adhere to the protocols in the club, but in your day-to-day life, you've just got to make your own choices and be as sensible as you can?
Yeah, of course. You have to be as sensible as you can. That's all we can do on the outside, So whether that's testing at home before you go somewhere, or testing before you come in training ground, just always being in control of it. And that's what a lot of the lads do, and they look after themselves, and we look after each other, because at the end of the day, we don't want to get COVID because we need players for the game.
Is it changing the kind of way a squad works almost? Because at any given time, you could not expect to perhaps be playing, and then within one test, you can be in there. Do you have to be more prepared than you've ever been?
No, I don't think so. I think personally, I'm always prepared to play, so it doesn't change anything. But of course, that, as you said, anything can happen now. Any player could be out, so everyone has to be ready. So everyone has to be on it in training all the time. And if we have everyone in training, that means we're pushing each other as well. So I think once everyone's ready, I think we'll be all right.
We spoke when you first signed for Burnley, and you talked about how keen you were to get going and meeting everybody around the training ground and getting to know everybody's names and all that stuff. You've since played fairly regularly. You've played in the Premier League. You've played League Cup games. You've made your international debut. How's it been, this sort of crazy 6 months or whatever it's been?
No, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Playing Premier League football was a dream. So to get games in there it's unbelievable. I want to kick on. I want to play more. I want to get as much appearances in the Premier League as possible, as well as Ireland. I want to keep playing for them. I want to get as much experience as possible. So the last 6 months have been really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed it. So it may continue.
Is it one of those things where when you do get a taste and you've had that experience, it only makes you more hungry?
Yeah, of course. That's what drives me every time. Once I get a little sniff of it, I just want to keep going. I want more, but I can't get enough of it.
You've played in the Championship, of course. You're coming up against Championship opposition this weekend. How big is that jump from where Huddersfield are kind of sixth in the Championship to where you are in the Premier League?
It is and it isn't. Championships is a tough league and everyone's hard to play against. So to come up against a team like Huddersfield who are in good form as well, it's going to be a tough game. Nevertheless, obviously there is a jump when you go from Championship to Premier League, and it takes time to get into it. But in a cup game as well, anything can happen. So any team can win at the end of the day.
And as far as winning games is concerned, regardless of what the competition is, it can only do you good, can't it? To win a game whatever the tournament, whatever the competition, to take that into the next one?
No, I think so. We need that. We need to get that winning mentality back into us. And if that can start on Saturday, then let's hope it does start on Saturday.
Managers talked about kind of not being too far away for several weeks, maybe even longer than that in this run that you've been on. How close do you feel like it is to things falling into place and that balance being right?
Personally, I think it's really close. It's just that bit of luck, maybe, or just that one goal, maybe just something to turn everything. But I think when it does click, I think everything can change, and we're hopeful that. And we as a team, we know we need to create our own luck as well. So we know we need to keep going and keep improving as well.
Cheers, Nathan. All the best.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Phil Medlicott, Pierre.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of ask if the amount of game time that you have had, particularly in the Premier League, are you pleased with that amount as it's been so far? And has it perhaps been more than you expected by this stage?
Yeah, I think so. I think I am pleased. I knew coming in here it was going to be a tough challenge to get ahead of 2-3, even centre halves in the team. There's a lot of good centre halves. So what I've got, I'm really happy with. But then, as I said, I've got a sniff of it now, and I want more of it. I don't want to stop there. I don't want to just be happy with that many games. I want more and more and more.
And there's some rave reviews about the performance you have given. I mean, you must feel pretty pleased with the way you've done yourself justice when you've been given the chance.
Yeah, I think I've done all right, but I can get better. That's all I know. I know for sure I can get better, and I know I can improve. So I keep going to step my standards high and get better.
And you mentioned some of the sort of established centre backs that there are at the club. Obviously, me and Tarkowski are in there as the first choice pair. And what's your sort of view of them? And I don't know, the sort of task I guess you have ahead of you in terms of trying to maybe dislodge one of those, or what it's like to sort of work with them as well in the training ground.
I think it's healthy. I think we're all pushing each other. I think we're all making each other better players, and if they don't perform on the pitch, then it create chances. And if I don't perform on the pitch, it gives them chances. So it's all a healthy relationship, and we're all pushing each other, I think.
That's great. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. John McDougall, Lancs Live.
Nathan, you're right, mate. Sam, has it been, when you have played and then you have come out of the team, has it been almost difficult when looking back on it to lose your place, even when you have been putting in good performances?
Say that again, sir?
Has it been difficult when you've come out of the team after being in it, when you put in some good performances? Obviously there's some very experienced, great centre backs at the club. But has that been difficult for you to deal with? How have you handled that?
I don't think it's been difficult. I understand where the gaffer coming from. I understand everything that happens. But I know now that if I can keep putting them performances in the Premier League, I can get to the standard and I can push on again. So that's all I need. If I can create better performances again, and I can push them as well as myself and just keep playing.
What's the dressing room mood like at the club, given the situation? Everyone, sticking together, despite obviously being at a difficult time on the pitch.
Obviously, there's a lot of experience in the dressing room, so it's a good group of lads. We're all still positive. We're all still getting around each other, and people die for each other in that changing room. So it's a really good thing to have, and we're ready to go and fight and get results in the table. Right?
Have you played more than you thought you might at this stage of the season?
Yeah and no. Listen, anything can happen in football, So I knew that, as I said before, it's a tough challenge against other centre halves. But then with these games coming thick and fast, as injuries are going to occur, so I just always have to be ready. And I feel like I've done decent so far, but then again, I can keep on again.
Obviously, you've got your long-term future at the club, and you've got me and Tarkowski in front of you. Obviously, have you almost got a little bit of an eye on next season? Obviously, there's a bit of, we don't know where their contracts are up in the summer as things stand. Have you almost got a bit of an eye on next season in terms of you playing more regularly?
No, it's all on this season. I'm a team player. It's all on this season. I'm going to play for the team. I'm going to be a team player whether I'm on the pitch or not, and I'm willing to fight with these boys, to get out of the situation we're in. So all concentration on this season. I
guess with this game in the FA Cup, it's a nice distraction to have and an opportunity to get back to winning ways and get a bit of a run going that you can take it to the Premier League with you as well, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It does take that. It's a week off the Premier League. It's a different tournament, and it refreshes you. So, and for boys to get a chance to get on the pitch, and press, it can only make us better.
Cheers, Nathan. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, John. That concludes the broadcast section. Cameras off, please. Dan Black.